one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to accept the minutes of the regular town board meeting on July 14th.
Motion.
Second.
Dave and Howard, all in favor?
Aye.
The minutes of the special town board meeting of July 28th, I had found one mistake I wanted to just bring to Kim's attention here. It's the pipe that we purchased for the J. Young Road. It should be 44 feet of pipe at $200 per foot for the total of $8,800. The total was correct, the $8,800, it was just mentioned as a 200-foot pipe, and we don't have anything quite that big, so. That was the only thing I saw in there. And on the second page at the top, it just starts out with "they discussed," and I would just like that to read, "the board discussed the bill submitted." Other than those two corrections, have a motion to accept.
Motion.
Dave, second.
Second.
By Scott, all in favor? Aye. Monthly statement of supervisor for the month of July 2014. General A, had a beginning balance of $21,634.56. Total received was $125,750.88. Total dispersed was $120,046.83, leaving an ending balance of $27,338.61. Savings of the General A is at $359,750.47. General B had a beginning balance of $5,240.54. Total received was $1,195.71. Total dispersed $4,649.03, leaving an ending balance $1,787.22. Savings for the General B is at $73,800.48. Highway DB had a beginning balance of $10,955.45. Total received was $41,367.80. Total dispersed $39,986.11, leaving an ending balance $12,337.14. Savings for the Highway DB, $173,417.57. Highway DA beginning balance $20,156.17. Total received $50,002.03. Total dispersed $55,133.71, leaving an ending balance of $15,024.49. Savings for the Highway DA, $400,219.13. Youngsville Water District beginning balance, $3,601.83. Total received, $571.53. Total dispersed, $1,678.24, leaving an ending balance, $2,495.12. And the savings for the Youngsville Water District is at $15,422. Motion to accept supervisor report is read.
Motion.
By Howard, second.
Second.
By Dave, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, Kim, town clerk and code enforcement officer report, please.
I paid $1,674.01 to the supervisor. I paid $684.99 to the New York State DEC for decals. I paid $38 to the Animal Population and Control. I paid $90 to the New York State Health Department, and I received $1,085 from the code enforcement officer.
Okay, thanks, Kim. A motion to accept reports is read. By Howard, second.
Second.
By Scott, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, if you could audit the bills, Kim.
General A, vouchers number 244 to 269 in the amount of $74,473.16. Also received a bill for $23.33 from NYSEG, $526.44 from Verizon, $340 from Double Clean, and $4,265 from Klein Excavation. Vouchers, General B vouchers number 25 through 27 in the amount of $1,124.15. Highway DA vouchers 91 through 97 in the amount of $15,289.19. Highway DB vouchers number 23 through 28 in the amount of $34,877.08. And Youngsville Water District vouchers number 24 through 25 in the amount of $536.73. and the youth vouchers number 10 through 12 in the amount of $694.94. Also received a bill in the amount of $254 for typographics.
Okay, thanks, Kim. Need a motion to pay the bills?
Motion.
A second is by Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The warrants, May payroll checks number 21490 to number 21504 and the direct
Tom?
deposit.
July,
I'm sorry?
July, not May.
What in the world's going on here?
Trying to go back before the floods.
Wow. Who typed that up? Sorry. The warrants of July payroll checks number 21490 to number 21504 and the direct deposits in the amount of $39,874.10. I need a motion to pay.
Motion.
Pretty close. Howard, and second is Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The July trust and agency checks number 5013 to number 5022 and the electronic transfers in the amount of $85,253.80. I need a motion.
Motion.
Dave, in a second.
Second.
By Scott, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Chris, you ready for our highway report for May?
Maybe we'll just, maybe we'll just roll it into our business items here, 3 and 4, and I'll just wait for it then. It's pretty much between flood repair and cleanup
Okay.
and stuff. We might as well just address it all then.
All right,
Or do
got
what?
anything else, or that's fine?
It's pretty much all of it, I mean, so if
Okay.
you want to just talk about it then, and we'll roll it right into
That's
that.
fine with me.
Okay,
You guys have anything for Chris, you want
yeah, we'll do that when we do our business items.
to? Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Kevin?
We're still quite busy. I got 3 sets of plans I'm looking at for new starts on houses. The unsafe building was addressed in Youngsville.
All right, Greg?
Well, the only other thing is big Woodstock weekend coming up, so girls will be busy next weekend.
I'm making that note. Woodstock. You're going?
Maybe on an official capacity.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess the unsafe building was the only question we had. We know it was removed and everything else, guess there is proceeded with that. Anybody else have anything for code enforcement?
No.
Okay, thanks. No, I'm sorry?
Did we take the building?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was removed that next day or 2 days after the last meeting. So. Okay. All right, before we move into our business items, we'll open up for any public comment on our business items, which there aren't much, but it's open for comment now. Does anybody have anything on it? If not, we'll move into those items. Okay, number one, our health insurance, and originally we were gonna have our representative from Mike Price here that represents MVP, who has been our healthcare provider of our insurance for the last couple of years now. And begin being we're less one councilman tonight, Charlie Schott was unable to make it. We don't think we're going to make a decision on this tonight. We have a few questions we want to ask our representative, so it was my suggestion that maybe we should table this and hold another meeting prior to the end of the month so we can make that decision. And several things have changed with probably all of our insurances, greatly due to the Affordable Care Act, so it's brought a few things into light there that we really need to consider before, otherwise there's other options, dealing with from co-pays to deductibles to a number of things, and that's just not our insurance. It has to do with Night Shift, which was a former insurance provider that we have had. So with that being said, I think tonight is probably inappropriate to make a decision, a completely informed decision that we need to do. So I would ask the board for their advice on this or their input of tabling this. But if we table it tonight, just you have to know we really have to do it next week. So I would suggest another meeting probably early part of next week.
Can we do it Monday? I mean, I agree that we should, and Charlie should be here.
I would like to see a full board here for this, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with Monday.
Monday's fine with me. I don't think we're prepared to make a decision tonight. Not a good
There's
decision.
just too many things that came
Too
up
many
here
options.
with, that, you know, I think it needs further discussion with a full board. 3 o'clock on Monday, the 18th. Can you make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Dave, second by Howard for a special meeting. We need to advertise that then, Kim, and it will be to renew or make a decision on health insurance and any other business that come before the board. Okay, so we had Howard and Dave, were all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
We'll make sure Danette's available.
We will, yeah.
What's it?
Try Danette tomorrow and ask her if she'd be available for 3
Okay.
o'clock Monday. Okay. All right, next one is pleasantly to report is a car show update. We held the first annual Callicoon Center Car Show last Sunday, sponsored by the town of Callicoon, and really happy to report. I don't know how many of you have had a chance to go, but all of us that were there, I think are in agreement that it was a wonderful event, very successful. And we raised some money, which was one of the main reasons for having it, for a playground equipment fund. But we had 78 cars registered,
78.
and then a few came in after the deadline of noon that we had put on to register and buy. So we had probably 83 or 84 cars and pickup trucks, big trucks. And I gotta tell you, the weather was great. We had a lot of compliments from people that belong to clubs, like Peter, I wanna saying, here's Mr. Fullerton right in the front row. He's one of our judges. But these guys regularly attend these car shows all around from here to Texas. And I think your feeling on it was the same thing, that we had very successful
You made a
event.
good profit.
What's that?
Did you make a good profit?
We took in about $3,700 was our total proceeds, and
Okay.
of course, the first year we had some expenses that we wouldn't have next year. We bought the banners, we bought some advertising signs to put out that we'll have to use over. So I would guess we probably netted somewhere around $2,000.
$2,910. $2,910.
Say approximately, approximately.
Approximately, exactly.
With the purchase of those banners?
No, they're durable.
The what?
They're durable.
I know.
We're
That-
gonna
that includes the
reuse them.
banners?
I understand that. Anyway, the proceeds were great. You know, we had to do it as donations, and it worked very well. Again, I can't say thank you enough to everybody that helped. It was a long day, but it was a lot of fun. And I'll just say this, when we got all done, picked up, we did not pick up one piece of litter on that park.
Wow.
Nothing.
They very seldom doing these, because
Nothing.
the people that do this aren't 20 years old. You know, most of us are above 50
It was,
or higher.
you know, it was just a great day. So we hope that next year we want to get a get together, so we have some things we would like to change up a little bit before it's, still fresh in our minds. But I think we'd like to set that date again for that first Sunday in August, which coincides with Callicoon Center's breakfast again. And I
Did
think
it
that's-
increase their volume of
Yeah,
breakfast
it did.
sales?
Yeah.
I talked to the president today, yeah,
Good.
It
it
did.
did.
So, anybody else want to say anything on it? Like I said, my thanks to everybody
No,
that.
It was a great
did
day,
everything.
you know. It was nice to see a lot of people down there at the park, not just the attendees, but
Yeah.
a
All
lot of
good
people showed
comments.
up from the town and surrounding areas. Nice.
That was nice. Okay,
Wish I could have made it.
next time just let me take your car. Dave was at a wedding. Okay, moving on. Next on our list is, Chris wants to go into this a little bit, our flood repair update. Haven't stopped repairing, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Yeah. We are down to just the Schoolhouse Road closed now. Jay Young is open. The guardrails aren't back up on that pipe yet, but there's cones there. But it's open for the amount of traffic that it gets. It's open. The pipe is longer. We've replaced 40 foot of pipe that was 10-foot diameter pipe that was completely destroyed with 45 foot of heavy steel pipe that we got from the county. So it's one piece, but it's actually 5 foot longer. So it sits in there a little bit better, and it won't be crushed. I can tell you it won't be crushed. It may, in the odd instance that it actually moves a little bit, I don't see that much either. It weighs almost 20 tons, so it's in there, and I hope it's there for good. Even if it washes over, we can put the stone back in. But the 10-footers that were there were galvanized. They were put in after the 2006 floods, and the bottoms were already failed in them, so they crushed up like can. So that's been replaced with, like you said, at $200 a foot. We offered $100 a foot to the county. They came back with $200 a foot, but new steel pipe, $587 a foot. So, the county delivered it, and they did a great job. So they brought it to us. So that's J. Young Road. The only one that's left closed being Schoolhouse. I got these plans that I just got from Utah, which was generated 8-9 from one of the engineering firms that the school has on hand. And I just, seeing the way that they've got even these preliminary, these are just discussion plans, they're not for, but the way that they've started this with, they're using a lot of poured concrete and different things, and I can see that it doesn't look to me that it's something that's gonna be a quick fix. I mean, this is gonna entail some serious work, so, and it's a deep dig. It's almost plus or minus 15 foot he's got on here because it's so deep there below the roads, and we're crossing the schools road and Schoolhouse Road. So it's and we wanted to either do this before school started or not do it till school's out. So this might put us in a predicament for this one because we don't even have plans yet. We've got this, and now when we talked about it, we didn't talk about it with all this poured concrete. So
Well,
Even
obviously,
if we get the pipe, if we can get the pipes in.
yeah, I'm for that.
portion
Yeah,
done.
I mean, that's what I said. If we could get the 60-inch, we're only adding one new piece of pipe,
Right.
160 feet of it plus or minus, but
Big dig.
and it's a deep dig, but if we could get it in, but now that they've spec'd this with these concrete head walls and stuff, some of that stuff may need to be poured beforehand, the head walls and the end walls, pipe placed inside. I don't know, sometimes can they pour around it? I don't know. So a lot of that stuff is constructed beforehand, and then the pipe is in, I don't know. We'll have to talk it over, but if in fact we're gonna go with that, and that's gonna increase the cost by a lot, with poured concrete instead of stackable stone head walls that we normally use. So, but we'll work on that. Other than that, we've got tons and tons more small culverts and ditching to do, but we're working on that every day. So, I know it's frustrating to see the same damage every day, but we're working on it as fast as we possibly can. But so
no, we know that.
Yeah.
And we can appreciate what you're trying to do with a
yeah,
small
we're
crew.
jumping around a little bit too because now we've got heavy rain in the forecast, so now we're pulling equipment from one place to another to try and address things that we know could be a problem area that we haven't got to yet. So we're jumping around town a little bit here right now, which is not what we'd like to do, but what we need to do for some of these pieces, just in case we get heavy rain tomorrow night into Wednesday, which is forecast.
Yep.
So batten down the hatches again, and maybe it hasn't been much lately, but we're due for some rain.
Did you make any progress over on Weissman today?
We started that today, yeah.
Yeah.
So we jumped over there. We took the pipe out of the woods that was put in years ago on a piece of property that the owner's in Florida, and the pipe's out of our right of way. But we went and removed it, left it there for him. But we did remove it because that was that took out the whole bottom from Hahn to Weissman Bridge there, the county bridge, and it was all because of a pipe sitting in the woods that plugged up, So, and there's no house there or anything. So if that needs to go back in later, we'll have to address it then. But the pipe is out, and it's left there for the homeowner, but it's not going to be installed because it's too small. So, yeah.
Well, and just so you know, your job has been repairing all these roads. Our job as a board is trying to find money to get you to repair
Yeah.
these roads and make them, not only bring them back to where they were, maybe possibly make them even better.
Yeah.
And, we're working on that. That I have a letter here that I just received actually this afternoon. It's a joint letter from Assemblywoman Gunther and Senator Bonisic addressed to Governor Cuomo. Says, we visited towns of Delaware, Callicoon, as well as the hamlet of Youngsville and the village of Jeff to witness the devastating damage to area roads and bridges along with some homes and businesses following the terrible rains of July 2, 2014. These are very small communities with small populations, and they do not have the funds to take care of the flood damage, which is estimated to be $2.8 million, a figure that was generated by our county manager, I believe. A letter from Mr. Jerome Hauer, Commissioner of the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, indicated that he is working on low-interest loans for these municipalities. The people in these communities have enough debt. They cannot afford any more. Pursuant to Section 29-E of the Executive Law, you have the power to issue a declaration of significant economic distress, which would allow these municipalities to apply for reimbursement of reconstruction and repair costs out of the State Contingency Reserve Fund. They do not meet the federal guidelines, nor did Sullivan qualify for New York Rising funds relating to Superstorm Sandy. We've always believed that government should be there to help people who cannot help themselves. These communities need your help, Governor, and we are making a plea on their behalf for grant money. So what they're speaking about here, the Senator and Assemblywoman, is that section of law that if the governor, I think there's 6 criteria. I have the law actually email form to me, and there's 6 criteria that need to be met for him to declare a significant economic distress. In my estimation, we meet 3 of them. If that's going to be enough for him to declare this, I don't know. That's what we're pushing for. We have had some word from Assemblywoman Gunther that capital money would be available, but we all know that takes time. So in the meantime, we have to continue to fix our roads, pay our bills. I think we're upwards of getting upwards of $100,000 that we paid out to repair the roads so far, and we still have the big one yet to go, with some others that, the minor.
And we did some paving again last week, but we had to kind of pick and choose because we had roads that were so damaged that we had to pave a little part of them to hold them back together. We lost a good portion of Earl Myers Road twice, 2 days in a row, and it was down to, when we fixed it with gravel out of the brook. So, and then also we had Tonjes Road, which we had replaced all the crossover pipes, so it was horrible condition, and so there was like 7 crossovers on that were really, really bad. So, and that was something that we planned to pave this year, from the beginning. So we did have a couple things that we needed to finish, and we did, but now we got to put a seal coat on top of them because we cold paved and we made it right at the town barn. So there was some things that we had to continue and follow through with to finish this year, and we still have more that should be done. But that being said, I know the position that we're in for now until we find somebody finds us some money. Or if not,
We're working on it.
Yeah, so.
Okay. You have anything else other than your flood repair?
No, so we're gonna keep going, and then we'll,
Okay, well, we might as well go right into our next item, which is our fall cleanup.
yeah,
So, if we can set a date on that, or you have approximate?
we have it for September. We set it in the spring, yeah, so, third or fourth week, 20th, 21st, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 20th, 21st, and 22nd of September.
20th through 22nd, is that right?
Yep, starting Saturday, we leave out, we do 4 days in the spring and 3 days in the fall.
Right.
Typically, we've cut it down to 7 total. So we finish up on Monday, that way we're finishing on a
Okay.
weekday.
Well, we also
A work
talked
day.
about maybe eliminating one day, depending what the spring cost us.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
So if you were to cut off one day, would you cut off the,
I guess we'd end up cutting off Monday probably, but it makes it hard to not be open on one work day at least, because we're hauling the containers, so it's, makes it hard.
all right, so you want to set the tentative dates then for?
For 3,
We'll have to
yeah,
advertise it too then.
yeah.
Okay, so motion to set the dates for fall cleanup, September 20th through 22nd, Saturday through Monday. The same rules would apply as always.
I'll make the motion.
Howard, second.
Second.
Scott, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, just so you know, we also, I think we carted 4 30-yarders from flood debris, 4.
Yeah. You got one small one still out?
I think that's gone now.
Oh, that one's
Yeah,
gone,
that
okay.
was small, that was a
Yeah.
10,
Yeah,
but 3 big ones, 3 30-yarders.
so at least I got rid of some of it, yeah.
And we should recognize the county has,
Oh, waived.
Yes,
has
right.
waived fee,
We had-
tipping fee.
Right, the county, upon our request, they did waive the tipping fee for that flood debris. So it was probably roughly 100 yards of flood debris that we were able to just pay the hauling on to get rid of it, so it did help our flood victims out slightly anyway. Okay, so the fall cleanup is set, and that's the end of our business items, unless we have anything else. Dave?
I'd just like to thank the town guys for, these guys have been working pretty hard. Really doing the best job they can, I know, and they should be commended for their work. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave.
Still, obviously our roads, caution must be used. As Chris was noting, there's some places that have not had chance yet to put the guide rail back up, and so gotta be cautious. There's still some edges that are bad when you pass another car, so just urge some caution and bear with us, and I assure you they'll have them back to shape, and probably by the time snow flies. Yeah.
Tomorrow, Oh, an optimist.
We've also employed several of our local contractors. Jim Klein and the whole Klein family have been great, and Kevin Peters, and Gary Myers, and Redards, and Brian Friedenstein, and
Yeah.
I don't know who I'm missing, but we use a lot of our local guys that are here, that have always been there and offered their help whenever.
Ernest.
Yeah, Ernest.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of stones from them.
Matt spent a whole day with us, basically looking at some of these areas too, giving us some ideas of how to get them fixed up. Didn't charge us anything for that. We got a lot of material from over at the school. Basically, that was Sullivan West donation for some rock that they had blasted out. They had no use on site. We just had to haul that, so that comes in handy. So it's typical of small communities. We try to pull together and help each other out, so. And watch out for rain tomorrow. It looks like it's more east of us, so.
Yeah, and then tomorrow night into Wednesday would be the heaviest. It was so, well, last time I looked.
What'd we forget, John? What'd we forget? All right, okay. The board has nothing else. We've opened it up for public comment. So. I think going in the back was first, yeah.
Mike Reland, Youngsville. I just have one flood-related question.
Yeah.
During the flood, there was some emergency work done on private properties. Were all of the homeowners or landowners charged for this repair work that was done during the storm?
No.
Just some?
I'm sorry?
Just some, not all?
Well, when you say some, if you're referring to the unsafe building, because that was charged to the property owner, or when?
Also the emergency work during the flood was charged. I was just wondering if some people got charged and some people didn't for the emergency work during the flood. I mean, I was told that I wouldn't be charged, and then I was. It's just, I'll put that out there.
You were told you weren't be charged for what? I don't know.
The emergency work during the flood.
Who told you that?
Mr. Klein.
Well, you have a little different situation, Mr. Freeland, and we discussed that. That was with a building that was on your property when you purchased the property, was deemed to be an unsafe building by a code enforcement officer, and had to be removed to prevent further damage or destruction to neighboring properties, and it fell under our unsafe building law. I thought we were kind of clear with that when we discussed that after our last meeting. But if you had a question, you certainly could have given me a call, but I still would invite that if you want a little further explanation of that, or
I would like
meet
to have a
with.
meeting with you, yes.
I'm sorry?
I would like to have a meeting with you, yes.
Okay, that's fine, yep. Okay, anybody else? Yes, sir.
Tom, I just wanted to compliment you and the board on a fun car show. We were lucky, we were blessed by the weather that day, and it really did dovetail well with the pancake breakfast, and it was a lot of fun. I hope we continue that. I also wanted to pat Kevin on the back. I've had a little, I added a workshop on the back of my garage, and Kevin, of course, was the code enforcement officer, and he did an awfully good job, and gave us some good suggestions and recommendations, and I think added to the quality of the job that was done, and I wanted to thank him.
Thank you, it's nice to hear that.
Yes, I know you gentlemen are quite sure that I'm not here to talk about an apple pie festival coming up or something. And I hope that you'll bear with me if I falter when I'm speaking to you. This is something I feel very emotional about at this point. I know that we're fixing the roads and getting our infrastructure back. I'm really very pleased that that's going as well as it is. But I am here to ask the board, what are we doing? Are there any plans, discussions about prevention of this continuing to happen? we can fix things, and it's going to happen over and over again. So I just wanted to know what you're discussing and so on at this point, and with whom, and where we might be on that.
Good question.
It is a good question, and it's one that we have been discussing for a long time, as you know. I think our discussions continue with our state, with the legislature, to help assist with some funding, to do preventative maintenance, which right now the town is tasked with trying to get our infrastructure back. We simply do not have that funding. In meeting with some of the property owners around where some of the continuing problems and ongoing problems have been, some of them have taken upon themselves to do some work, and I know it's very difficult to do. We had a meeting right here with Senator Bonisic and Assemblywoman Gunther, and they both have pledged to try and put a stream maintenance line in the state budget that would provide for this. Until that happens, the conversations are continuing every day. There isn't a day, I think, that goes by that we don't talk with Soil and Water, and that's who we should be speaking with. These are the jobs of this division. It should be further discussed with them, NRCS, Natural Resources Conservation Service. They've been in our town. They tell us, yeah, a few projects that we already repaired. They would have qualified for NRCS funding, but we already started repairing them, so it doesn't make them eligible. So how ridiculous is that? It's very frustrating. I know you went through 2 years of frustration, Greg, for many years before that. And to say we've made any progress, I think we have. But we haven't gotten the cooperation from our state with trying to fund this. And this declaration of a severe economic distress, that's what we need to push for. That's what we are pushing for. Our state just got almost $4 billion in windfall, which is basically found money from a court settlement with the largest bank in France, almost $4 billion with a B. They don't know what to do with the money. We suggested what they do with some of it. We're waiting to see. We didn't get an answer. We asked for $25 million. They spent $275 million of that money supposedly is appropriated for alcohol substance abuse, which I said very worthy cause. But they already funded that. That was 51% higher than they annually fund that cause. They just give them $275 million. So I suggested give us $25 million of that. Still send $250 million, which is still 47 or 48% higher than they annually fund them. But my whole point of this is we need the money to do this. And it shouldn't be our highway department that's doing this. They have a job to do, and that's taking care of our highways, our bridges, and keeping them safe. We need a division from this state to take care of our stream problems, so people like you and everybody else that lives along these streams don't have to live in fear of the next time it rains. And that's what you as landowners should be doing every day. If need be, contacting these officials. You know what, if we're enough of a pain in the butt, somebody's gonna have to listen to us. I guess I haven't been that big of a pain because we still have not received any funding. We have promises, but promises don't pay for the project behind Youngsville School. We've been trying for how long to try and get some sort of a, I don't even call it solution, but trying to make that a better situation than it is. The town has relieved itself of that responsibility because it shouldn't be the town's responsibility. We've put that on Soil and Water. And they're great people there, but they're very limited. Their funding was cut from Sullivan County in half 2 years ago. They were giving $200,000 to do maintenance in these streams, mitigation efforts. It was cut to $100,000. That doesn't go very far over Sullivan County. These are the things we all need to do: letter writing, phone calls, and get, when I say these people, we have a state senator that has been very cooperative to us, an assemblywoman that's the same thing, been hearing us. But they have a lot of colleagues that could quite truthfully care less about us. And they need to be able to get them to vote with them to put a stream maintenance line in the New York State budget.
If they were to do that, Tom, what is your understanding of who would be responsible for designing what's being done that would be termed stream maintenance? Would it be the town? Yeah, I mean, before, we were forced to, as you well know, Greg knows, to have that designed by an engineering company. Is this something the state would take on?
Well, it
I don't
certainly
know
should.
that any discussions have gone that
I'm just
far.
wondering if
yet, really.
anything came up, you know, whose responsibility is that?
We'd hope so.
Well, it certainly can't lie on these small municipalities. You know, it's just not feasible for us to do that.
No, I'm agreeing with you, I was just wondering if there had been any discussion of that.
I don't think there have been, really. I mean, it hasn't gone
No,
that far.
because we've
too.
actually, you know, in our discussions with the people from DEC that were here a couple of weeks ago, and our elected officials, was just that, you know, look, tell us what to do, you know, we don't, you know, we can get in and do work, we've done emergency work to try and make some immediate repairs, but these need to be long-term repairs, and there is just no one right now that is stepping up to do this. And we're not the only one in the state that's having these problems. And there's other, we were told, Delaware County, right? The guy from DEC was here, told us Delaware County has done things over the years and they're working. And I said, really? What's, you know, we have a lot of similarities with Delaware County in our geography. They've certainly had a lot of flooding. I think they had 26 declared disasters since 1950 something. It's pretty amazing. But you know the big difference between us and Delaware County? What they have is New York City water supply and millions of dollars behind them to fund a lot of these projects. That's the difference between us and Delaware County. So, yeah, it takes money to do it, whether it's a private firm that we had to hire after the '06 flooding at a cost of 80 grand or so that didn't help us much.
I'm well aware that it's gonna cost money.
It does.
I also know that in many ways, we are not cost effective, so we're not anywhere on the list really, because we're not cost effective. However, what I'm asking is that, when you're saying about people writing letters, what would you recommend that we get people on board to write letters about? I personally feel that after the Army Corps was here, and we talked about having holding areas, and people say, well, that's not realistic, it's on private property. Well, we certainly take private property for other uses. And I think we just have to keep beating on that. We can do anything we want to the stream. The banks are totally destroyed at this point if you don't hold the water back. And this is something that doesn't just benefit
What you need to
people.
write in your letters is
Well, I would like you to also do that, everybody on the
we've been
board.
doing that for 5 years.
Okay.
Quite truthfully.
Well, we've been working on complaining since 1996, groups in Youngsville and so on, and we really need somebody that have some clout. I don't know that we really do.
Well, we have senators, we have, that are a lot more than the elected officials that are before you.
But I really feel that if we don't do something where we're holding the water back 2 or 3 hours, and this is benefiting everybody all the way to Callicoon, not just,
I'm not denying that.
Here.
We're not saying that it's not something that we haven't all discussed and have asked for. And yes, we did meet with the Army Corps a year ago.
and you know, when you're saying about homeowners taking their responsibility, at this point, I don't think that Ethel Meyerer could do anything to save her property, and I
She just
really,
did.
she did, and it's going to actually,
She
keep
just did
something-
collectively with her neighbors, actually, so.
I'm
And I
sorry?
don't want to single anyone out. The person you just mentioned did do something collectively with her neighbors. They did hire a contractor to come in and do some work. Whether it'll help, but it does.
Well, that's the question.
Mhm.
When I send in my form about these, you know, what you have to do, anything, I have a lot of damage, and it's a tremendous amount of money, which I don't have. Also, any of those things, if I fix them, it doesn't fix the problem. I'm getting it from the front, the back, and the sides. So what could I possibly do?
We know that, and we've been carrying that message since I've been on this board to our government people who are supposed to be our representatives to help us, and I don't know, it just seems like it gets to their ears, to their mouth, and then it gets lost. Is it? It seems that way.
Okay.
We keep trying.
We'll see about getting people to write, call, and so on.
Well, it can't
That's what I
hurt.
really do.
It can't hurt, but I believe, you know, the more that you can get on board with that, and I'm sorry, I'm not.
No, that's okay. Is there could you compile this list, put it on the website, and then maybe we can really go around and give them all to homeowners, forms like, you know, some kind of letters that, a sample form, you know, wanna write your own, use this one, and just bombard people with it. I don't know.
Well, I think Sharon, again, you know, writing letters is good. You know, where they go after you put them in the post office box, I don't know. You know, somebody reads them. But I think what Ms. Babich asked was, you know, what are we doing? And I think what the landowners can do to be the best to help is to just, you know, if he helps himself type of thing. But yes, we must be heard. We're very small numbers, and that is our problem.
What are the numbers that you feel of people have been affected? What numbers do you come up with households, taxpayers that have been affected by flooding? What number do you think?
In our township?
In the township of Callicoon?
I don't know. We got damage assessment forms in from, we sent these forms out, and they varied from, you know, from heating systems to driveway damage, but we asked everybody.
Yeah. But what kind of number was it?
But we didn't even get, you know, we sent out 1,600, I think, letters.
But we're still getting them back.
They're coming back, which we encouraged. To put a real number on it, I don't know. We probably got 150 of them back, I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, out of 1,600 letters we mailed out. But, you know, some people didn't receive any damage, others got significant damage, so.
Well, what Linda was saying, you know, I had gone to, there's this Upstate Green Building Alliance, and I had gone to a meeting, and there was a woman speaking, I know I've mentioned this before, and she is a water specialist, and this is what she does. She comes in and does an assessment, and it's a really good, true assessment of how we can harness this water. I was just speaking.
I've heard you say that before, Sharon,
know,
all due respect.
But
These are flash floods. Yeah, but
if there's a place for it to be contained, maybe it won't be as fierce. I mean, we're in a
I'm not arguing the retention ponds that we've talked about, and I think you've heard me say the Army Corps, who we really hoped for. If we're gonna find any kind of money to do a project like that, it's gonna have to come from federal sources.
So how did it come in 1947 when there were the floods? And the Army Corps was involved in 1947.
Yeah, that was before me.
You know, how did they step in then? Was there different rulings or?
Do you remember, Sharon?
No, but my family did. That's how I know about
Don't
it.
have a lot of memories.
My grand,
I believe the federal government was very much more involved with helping out small towns and doing, I think, putting money into infrastructure, and they were building the highways. It was all part of that. But I mean, that's been cut off. All they want to do is cut austerity. Everything's crumbling. They're not even looking at the bridges. I mean, it's related to that. That was federal money,
it was just a
TVA
different
money.
time.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
neglected our entire.
We had a few
infrastructure.
presidents that said this has got to be done, and Congresses that supported them, and they did it. You saw what happened with the infrastructure plan, and that was cut right out. You know, it's really, in a nutshell.
Very frustrating.
It is.
Tom,
I
related
had
to
somebody
that.
over here first.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, because I called on you before, so was there? No? All right.
Well, related to that, is there an effort on the part of the state or the county to buy properties that are in floodplains and move people?
Well, the problem, one of the problems with that is, like happened over here on the island, when they're
Right.
bought out, the municipality loses that tax base. So everyone else has to make up for it. Now, you don't wanna really have too many bought out, because the rest that are left here are gonna have to make up for the shortfall.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and yes, it makes sense on one hand about removing structures that are in the floodplain, but it doesn't do the municipality any good in terms of its tax base. So it's a real problem.
Yeah.
There is none, that was due to federal declarations at that time. There was money for the several buyouts. And, not to say that couldn't happen again, but let's hope it doesn't.
I'm here to be a pain in your neck, just like you are to the state's neck. You know, I want you to listen, and you know, I've said all along that flooding is an issue, but compared to the damage that might happen if fracking is allowed, flooding is nothing. And you know, you told me to pick myself up by my bootstraps, and I did. And I survived barely this last one, but I'm humble enough to realize that this 1 or 2 days might just wipe me out, like every other one. I want to read a letter because I think this gag rule, or this 3-minute thing, maybe we could re-examine it. 2 months ago, when Mr. Krantz was asking for support for building his road, I was surprised as the time went over 3, 4, 5. I think it was within the 6 minute, when you realized you needed to cut them off and apologetically did. It was refreshing to see discussion back and forth, just like we had tonight. This is how I think meetings should be run, where people are all contributing, they're all listening to one another. You know, it's good old-fashioned, unfortunately, dialogue between residents and board about a concern. It would be understandable if night after night people went on and on at meetings and they lasted for hours. Bottom line, most of the meetings have 10 minutes or less of comment, and it's rare, especially if people have concerns about fracking, to have a discussion. It's usually a lecture or a condemnation or a scolding for not having read the plan or acknowledging that you respect an opinion, but you know that person won't let it drop, that kind of thing. If the purpose of the rule is to keep folks from bringing suggestions and ideas and concerns from being discussed publicly, it's working. But to squash a discussion that was happening, as was the example last month, and I know you called Mr. Krantz and he got, he was satisfied with that, but I think it's counterproductive and hurts the democratic process. We saw that at the old Delaware Valley where the one board member they started to be a 20-minute and then it turned into a 10. This is back in the 70s. And then they finally cut it at 5 minutes. My second point is I never read your comprehensive plan, but I do object to one little piece of it. I read parts of it. I doubt anybody in here has read that whole plan. I don't know about any of you, but I'd be very surprised. But we're in the section about environmental protection, number 2, where it says to ensure that zoning allows for the review and permitting of gas drilling to the full extent feasible under state laws and requirements. I don't know what that has to do with environmental protection, and I don't know why it was put in the plan unless you were going to try to speed this process along if and when the governor said yes. Third one, I'd like answers to any of my questions from all of my letters, which I've gotten none so far, just like we're having right here. Like, could we do a bond issue? Is that, we don't need details about it, but would you consider that to hold these companies liable so they don't change their name and run out of town and leave us hanging if we ever had the willpower to hold out and wait and pay lawyers to, postpone cases? Could we test our prior, adjust compensation, all these kinds of things? And lastly, because I'm probably running out of time, is there a window that we could at least be given to say if the state says yes, you've got 6 months, a year, we guarantee it that much, because some of us that have to sell our property and get out, I get a minimal amount of benzene in my well. My property's worth nothing, and I know some people are gonna benefit, but what are you gonna do for the poor suckers downstream? Or at least tell us, we heard you, your suggestions are totally outrageous, you're out of your mind. I'd at least like to hear that. We're not gonna go in that direction, we just sit and wait, so that I know what's going on. By the way, Cuomo will probably be getting oil money, because his primary, if they allow her this teach out, she's definitely against fracking, so he's gonna have a decision to make, even though against the Republican who will want fracking, he's probably gonna say he's gonna be neutral. So look what he did with the money from, he took 800 grand from Wall Street and he gave 100 million to privatized schools, just like that. We know where Cuomo with his nice policy, and I've said enough. Thank you.
Well, I don't know where to start there, Ron.
You don't have to
Thanks
tonight, but sometime.
Thanks for your comment, because you covered.
I want to get a few things. I could hold on to a lot of this for 3 months.
I would like to tell you about science. This is the publication I'm talking about, and there's the text of what I'm saying. Methane leakage contributes to global warming and results in intense rainstorms like we have experienced. I show this bar graph again. Emissions from the EPA. Emissions from 1990 to 2011 were average, and they show that the natural gas industry emits most of the methane in the United States. During this period, the industry was trending toward horizontal fracking and away from vertical fracking. Horizontal fracking has much more methane emissions than vertical fracking, and the current technology is mostly horizontal, so there is much more methane emission than what this graph shows. This figure shows methane peaks in Dimock, Pennsylvania, where there is a lot of fracking going on, and the second section down here is in Damascus, Pennsylvania, where there's no fracking. This is actual measurements of methane that's being just vented to the atmosphere and causing 100 times more heat trapping than carbon dioxide. I'm going to talk about these papers from the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. They are Allen in October of 2013 and Colton in April of 2014. First, I want to tell you about the authors in the Allen paper, because they did something different from any other publication I have summarized for you. They first published in September and declared no conflict of interest. Then, in October, a correction was published reading, Their conflict of interest statement was not complete. The new disclosure includes their affiliations with ExxonMobil, EPA, Shell, Environmental Defense Fund, Colorado School of Mines, and universities in Washington and West Virginia. This occasion of authors being caught in using incorrect disclosure and being forced to issue a correction gives credit to my reason for choosing peer-reviewed science as the highest quality information that I can bring you. The Allen Group concludes that methane emissions total less than 1% of gross gas production. The lowest emissions occur when 99% of methane is captured through better technologies and little flaring or venting. The highest emissions occur during a process known as unloading liquids. 50 to 95% of methane emissions occur during unloadings. Unloadings are needed to remove liquids accumulated in the gas stream over time. Where burning of methane occurs, also known as flaring, carbon dioxide heat-trapping gas is emitted to the atmosphere. Previously, I gave you a publication which concludes that carbon dioxide barely breaks down after 1,000 years. This inexpensive option of flaring does not reduce global warming. The Allen Group cautions interpretation of their work in 3 ways. The methane emissions of oil and other products from gas production have not been included in their study. The data is meant to be representative of the participating companies, but not necessarily of all activities and practices. 9 companies allowed on-site direct measurements of methane, and those companies may not be representative of the national population. The highest methane emissions occur in unloading liquids, but too few data points were submitted in this work, so expanding results should be done with caution. While the authors wrote that their measurements will help inform policymakers, I will discourage policymakers from using this data, because it is likely that this work underestimates methane emissions for the following reasons. The authors' measurements are for gas production only, not gas transport through pipelines. We know that pipelines are leaking methane to the atmosphere and have caused fires, evacuations, explosions, and deaths. The authors had to correct their disclosure statement after declaring no conflict of interest. The caveats identified by the authors in the list above reveal deficiencies in their work.
Ms. Wright, I'm going to have to stop you. I've given you 6 minutes now, and I appreciate your concern, as always, with your methane emissions and the science that you want to provide to us. But in keeping with the policy that's set forth by this town board, we've already allotted more than the time. So if you leave this with us, that's fine. We'll add it to other information that you provided to this town board, but I thank you. If anyone else would like to, but I have to see if there's anyone else that has comment here.
Thank you. I'll do the next paper another time.
Okay. Good. If there's nothing else,
Make a motion.
Second.
thank you all.
Thank you.